This
A
movie
week
right
ago.
here?
Yes, They Live. The movie, they walk among us, they live among us, they are here, they being something creepy, no doubt. It is a John Carpenter movie, after all. You can't make a John Carpenter movie without something weird happening.
Does he have any normal movies?
Not really, no. He doesn't. I think that he really enjoys making genre movies, and like that's his whole thing, is like, I don't want to make this unless it has a weird premise.
A movie that will fit his music. Also, his awesome
God,
80s,
yeah.
his awesome 80s new retro wave, old retro wave music.
That's all he does now, is play video games and make weird music.
Isn't he awesome at Fortnite?
Yeah, he plays Fortnite. I think he plays like NBA 2K, whatever the newest one is. But anyway, yeah, he plays video games, he smokes weed, and he writes music, and he plays music with his band.
He's a multi-talented man, I'll give him that.
He is great. He's like the kind of like grandpa that everybody wishes was their grandpa. Being like, man, I wish my grandpa played video games and wrote cool synth music instead of just being, an old man. Actually, my grandpa was pretty cool, so I'm not going to talk shit about grandpas. I don't know about you guys. Anyway, today we are doing I'm not sure if it's underrated or underviewed, but I know that most of the people that I watched it with were either uncertain if they had seen it, had not seen it, and then realized they had seen it but totally forgot about it while they were watching it. And
I'll tell you exactly what it is. Everybody gets this movie and the Hell Comes to Frogtown mixed up, and they think when they see this movie on the screen, they think it's a bad movie. But the reality is Hell Comes to Frogtown is the shitty B movie, and this is a legitimate cult classic. And that's my opinion. This has been Jason's Hot Take Corner, or whatever that segment is called.
Okay, so now we know what Jason's opinion is. Kaylin, what's your opinion?
I didn't know about this movie until I think I was telling you guys about this. I was in Greece, and there was one night I was in my hotel room.
The musical? You put you in a hotel? Wow, that's impressive, Kaylin. I didn't know that about you.
You're on Broadway?
Does he drive a car?
Okay.
Did you sexually assault her on summer break?
Inappropriate.
Tell me more.
But I was having a lonely night by myself, and I was on my phone of all things, and I was on YouTube, and I think I just YouTubed free movies, and then this came up. I'm like, what's this? And I was upset with myself that I never knew about it beforehand. I was surprised that it was for free on YouTube, or maybe it was just the region where I was in, and I was blown away at the subject matter and how, do people in the world not watch movies? Like, all the answers to life are in movies.
Well, yeah, they're a mirror of life. Before we go on, I just looked at John Carpenter's filmography, and Haddonfield is where Halloween takes place, right?
Yeah,
I think so. If you count all of the shorts, all of the everything involving Michael Myers and the name Halloween, he's got 30 titles in his filmography that are Halloween related. I wanted to look that up before we moved on. Kaylin, you're right.
I think he only directed the first one.
Well, no, but he wrote all of them except for Halloween 4, according to this. But there's 10 shorts.
I don't know if that's true.
I don't think he had that much involvement with the other ones.
He made the music for the last two that came out.
It says Halloween 2 written by, Halloween 3 uncredited, Halloween 5 characters. Oh, okay. Well, he's associated with 30 Halloween related things.
Here's what happens when Halloween movies get made. This is from his mouth. He says, I love when they remake my movies because I just hold my hand out and a check falls down and lands in it. Which is that's pretty great. So he doesn't have a lot of involvement with anything Halloween related anymore.
But it's based on his creation or whatever.
Yeah.
It wasn't even really his creation, but he does have a lot of ownership of it.
Royalties?
To the point that, anytime they want to do something with it. But I think the last two that came out, he actually did I think all of the music for both of those
Like
movies.
Halloween Kills or whatever that new thing is.
Halloween Kills, and I think the other one was just called Halloween. But
Right.
the one where it's like a Home Alone, like where what's her name is old now and she's just crazy and living in her house that she has trapped like Kevin McAllister.
She has the
That
booby
one-
trap
Yeah,
basement
that one
or
was
whatever.
all right. The Halloween Kills, on the other hand, was a little bit very cartoony. It was kind of odd. Where I'm like, what is this? The whole town is like, we gotta go kill Michael Myers. Like,
Just leave.
Yeah, just
Just
leave.
leave. Go
Why
to
are
a
you
net.
all still
Let
here
him have the
for 40
town.
years?
He's been serial killing people here for 45 years, and every time he comes, nobody's ready for him.
Mhm.
And you know he's coming. He comes on Halloween. That's his
Anyway.
whole. Sorry, this is not a podcast about Halloween. This is a podcast about Day Life.
Is this even a
So-
podcast? Can we call this a podcast? I tell people it's a podcast, but
That's a philosophy we're not gonna get into right now.
At the end of the day. So, John Carpenter did do the music for this movie as well.
Yeah.
I really like the music for this movie. It was maybe not agreed upon in the group of people that I watched the movie with that it was good music, but I was like, this is very appropriate for
it was suiting.
the
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Well, it
But-
was pretty basic though. It was like ba bow bow,
That bass riff.
Well,
and the marching
I'll get
marching
into
drums.
I'll get into it in a second because I think we haven't gone through our all of our first times watching.
Right.
My first time watching this was actually not too long ago. It was a few years ago, and I, up until that point, was not huge into John Carpenter because the Thing was very scary to me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
So I always assumed that all of his movies were just as gross and freaky. So I was like, I don't want to watch this. It's going to freak me out. Because John Carpenter made it, because his name is always at the beginning of the movie being like, John Carpenter presents. And I'm like, no, not him.
No, it's gonna be
He's the spaghetti
spooky.
monster, man. He makes the green spaghetti come out of people. So I was always really scared of him as a director. Even like after I had watched Jason and Freddy movies and all that stuff, it was John Carpenter that always was the scariest to me because I thought that he was the one who knew how to freak me out the most. And then
When really it was Wes Craven who's the scariest.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
Wes Craven. Yeah.
he's the one who wants to continuously put himself in the movies and being like, and then I cut my own eyelids off and I'm riding around in a van with no eyelids. And you're like, Jesus, Wes.
Wes,
Calm
what are you?
down.
Damn, Wes.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? But I watched a bunch of his movies when I was in my middling to early 20s, and I was like, oh man, he's actually dope as heck. And I watched Big Trouble in Little China, which has actually now become one of my most favorite movies of all time.
Jason, you haven't
And-
seen that one yet, right?
No, I'm excited for that episode, but
It's been on TV in the background at parties, or I'm not afraid of kung fu movies. I just knew it's a classic and never got around
yeah,
to
I don't
seeing
want to talk about it too much because I feel like I'll fall into a hole of just talking too much about it. But it is very
You
good. It is a very
talk
good.
too much about something.
Yeah, I'm still trying to tell you about the first time I watched it. So the first time I watched They Live, it was bad. I thought it was bad, and I was like, "Oh, this is a bad movie." And then
When
I
you
watched
say
it.
bad, do you mean production-wise or like?
No, I don't think the
everything?
production is bad at all in this movie. I think it's actually quite good.
The story.
I just thought it was too simple for me. I was like, this is a simple tale for simple people. This is so stupid and dumb. Everything that they're trying to say is obvious. Why is this a movie? This is so dumb.
And then the pandemic hit.
Yeah. And then I watched it again a few more times after that, and I was like, you know what? It's almost kind of beautiful in its simplicity, and it's what makes it great. Because you don't have to sit there and be like, man, Big Brother, 1984, everything is crazy. It's just like,
Yeah.
no, yeah, they're clearly making those statements within it, but at the same time, they're not trying to hide it from you. It's just all in your face, being like, this is just as in your face as anything.
It was the 80s.
but- Yeah, it was the 80s, but this had been done several times before. It was like they were making just a very basic idea without trying to say anything.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers has a similar message vibe.
Yeah.
Especially the original one, especially where everybody's conforming and they're
So I
all
think the idea behind
brainwashed.
this
You know.
is that, he wanted to make a movie like that is like, the government is corrupt, obviously. I want to make a movie where a Terminator-style character comes in and fights the government, but the government has to be monsters, because then it's too weird if they aren't, so let's just make them monsters, literally. And also, we don't want to make the guy who's coming in to be an unstoppable force, so let's make him like an everyman, or like a wanderer who's like anybody can sort of like carbon copy themselves over top of. Like in terms of mentality, not in
What's
terms
that
of
you
physicality. Say? Like when I eventually watched it a few more times, I was like, you know what, this movie is like pure enjoyment. Like that's all you're doing is watching it for the one-liners, for the performances of Keith David and Roddy Piper.
Keith David is the best.
All the day players and all the other like tertiary and secondary characters, they're acting well. Like everybody is giving decent performances. There's not really anybody in the movie who you're like, ugh, you're acting. But like even when they're saying this like crazy ham-fisted dialogue, you're like, well, whatever. It's believable for this crazy, stupid world that they're inside of. I do have a counter for this movie. I made a counter, but I'm not going to tell you what it is until later, because I want to know if my counter can be added to during this discussion.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The first time I saw this movie, didn't like it. I think the third time I watched it, it was like, yeah, this movie has grown on me. And then watching it this week, I was like, yep, this is a good movie. I like watching this movie, and I would watch it again. I would watch this movie again probably three more times. 3 more times before I watch Halloween 1, because Halloween 1 is really boring.
Halloween 1 is so boring.
Well, do you mean, are you talking about Halloween 1, or do you mean Friday the 13th?
Halloween.
Friday the 13th is fine compared to Halloween, but Friday the 13th is also a snooze fest.
Halloween,
confusing.
The first Halloween is amazing.
We talked about it in October, and I hated it. I hated it. I never want to talk about it again. I want to watch Halloween 2.
Hate it.
Next year, the sequels.
I appreciate everything that it's done for us in terms of the horror genre, and I do appreciate that it started John Carpenter's career, because if that movie didn't exist, we wouldn't have this movie that we're watching right now. But I would watch this movie 3 more times before I watch Halloween 1. Yeah. So anyway, shall we do a short summary of the movie?
Well, you didn't ask us what our first. You just said all your things,
Caleb
and then
already told me his.
Well, yeah, that was an accident though, because I forget how I brought that up.
Well, is it an accident? Because you told us the first time you saw it.
Yeah. But I didn't mean to.
All right, let's just by saying. All right, Jason, tell us about the first time you saw it. Kaylin, don't make any mistakes next time, or you're out of here.
Oh my God, Steve, your fucking hosting is gone to your head. So, it's something. I have no real history. I didn't know until right now that Piper. I called him Piper the whole time because I'm a wrestling fan. So this movie has always been on my radar, but I always thought, like Steve, it was like going to be a spooky, scary horror movie that I couldn't handle until about 7 years ago, when no gore really affects me at all. Walking Dead is what did it. It really made me, I think I've talked about this before, but Walking Dead desensitized me to pretty much anything a movie can throw at me. And it's not even that bad in retrospect. I digress. My point is, I'm just desensitized now, so nothing really affects me like that. But Roddy Piper is the reason why I should have seen this movie, because I love Roddy Piper. He's been a favorite of mine forever. I didn't realize till right now that his name is Nada. Like, Nada.
The character, yeah.
Yes, he does not have a name.
Keith David is awesome. Yep. He's been in 150 or whatever movies. I wanted to just say that like I said before, it's been on TV while I've been in the room. I know that, but I've never sat down and watched it. And if I would remember situations in this movie, like the great scene that seems to be coming up here on my screen, which is, I'm here to, no, I'm going to get to that in this rant. I'm here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. Because there is a tangent off of that. The video game Duke Nukem, the character Duke Nukem is basically based off Nada. because he fights aliens and he says one-liners. I don't think Nada in this movie, I might have missed it. I don't think he ever says, I'm going to cut off your head and shit down your neck. Maybe in the sequel short they made recently.
Well, you know who does say that? Corey Feldman from a little movie called Stand By Me. And
right.
You know what else Duke Nukem says is, go ahead, make my day. You know what
That's
Duke
true.
Nukem is? He's a man who steals one-liners from movies.
Which is fantastic. But I always kind of saw him as like based directly off of Nada or Roddy Piper's They Live character, and I always had that in my head too. What I did want to talk about specifically before I get shut down ever again on this podcast is I would remember the fact that there is a 15-minute fist fight in this movie.
I think it was like 5.
And I think
it was like 5.
I think it's because the director, John Carpenter, was like, we have a wrestler in this movie. We have to have a full wrestling match right in the middle.
Right.
Have a wrestling match. Fuck it. And they do actual wrestling moves in it. There's a back body drop, which is when he puts his arm over the shoulder and picks him up and drops him backwards. And I think they do that twice. And there's a lot of really telegraphed fist fights. And it's a really well choreographed 80s fist fight. It's just so long. And I'm not saying it's bad that it's long. I'm just saying that it's noticeably long. Yeah, because they have to have a little bit of...
It is extremely, extremely funny that it is long. Because
yes,
they literally take, I think, 2 actual breaks to breathe.
Yeah.
And then you think it's over, and then a guy comes up and he's walking up, and the other guy goes, and then they just start fighting again. It is amazing. That fight is amazing. I don't know if they've ever done that again or before, but like that fight is way
I've
too
never
long.
seen a fight that was too long in a movie.
Where they do the joke too long. Like Peter's like, it's like that.
Or the fight with the chicken.
Funnier the longer it goes. Yeah. And
also, before we move on from me, I just want to say that I thought Peter Jason, who's one of like the goons, who has the glasses and you don't know what his intentions are at first, he looks exactly like Meatloaf, and I had to look up whether or not it was Meatloaf.
Right. The guy, the church guy, right? He was like,
yeah.
That guy does look like Meatloaf. Yeah. He also kind of looks. Ryan pointed this out. He looks like a Sutherland. He looks like he could be part of the Sutherland ilk.
I see that.
Of that cloth.
The lineage of Sutherlands, also in Stand By Me.
I remember how I got on my tangent. I think you guys were saying whether or not this was like a B movie or an A movie or something like that.
Well, at the end of the day, I don't think that any of John Carpenter movies are considered A movies.
But I don't think this movie is intended to be a B movie. I think this is a movie that came out in theaters, wasn't well received, and then 20 years later became a cult classic.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens sometimes. It happens to most comedies. They come out, they hope it does well in the box office. It doesn't have any A-list stars in it. You know what I mean? They didn't put this movie out and be like, this movie's going to fail. B movies come out, and it's almost always expected that they're going to make a middling amount of money. And that's sort of what B movies are.
They'll make enough.
This is the era where they put the trust in the creatives instead of the franchises or the names, like the brands. Nowadays, it's like, let's remake everything, and the only stuff that's being made originally is not being financed.
And John Carpenter came into the studio one day, so let's slap his name on it, like how Ready Player One is Steven Spielberg presents.
But Steven Spielberg, that movie was like Ready Player One, for example, was like, that's a book. So he went into the book that's already been proven to be extremely profitable, and a lot of people read that book. So them making that movie is like, oh yeah, if Steven Spielberg's directing it, it's going to make us a lot lot of money.
But he didn't direct it. He came in, just like he was there.
Yeah.
Sorry, are you talking about Spielberg?
Yeah.
He directed Ready Player One.
No. There was like a main director, and
actually,
then he was like
I think I was watching some. I think. No, wait. Are you sure?
I'm 100% sure that Steven Spielberg directed Ready Player One.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right, Steve.
I know I am right.
I have it on DVD. I'm pretty sure I was watching the special features where he was He was giving direction to the actors.
Okay,
Because he's the director of the movie. That's why
you're right. Look, I don't know why I thought that. I thought that he had a.
I'm pretty sure he has put his name on things.
The
And then
reason
gets, like,
that
his
they
crew
needed
to do
him to direct that movie was because he has so many favorites in Hollywood, and the only way that they could put all of those references into that movie is if Steven Spielberg was the one directing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he came in and he was like, we got to get the DeLorean, we got to
Yeah.
get Chucky, we got to get The Shining. And, like, Steven Spielberg can do that just based on his clout.
His name.
Anyway, the difference between Steven Spielberg and John Carpenter is that John Carpenter wrote and directed this movie, and he came in and he still
did the score.
Yeah,
he has his name on, like,
for all his
everything.
movies because it saves him money. He's like, why would I let somebody else make the score when I know exactly how I want it to sound and I can do it myself, and it'll save me like $200,000, which I can then just put either back into the movie or onto my paycheck at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that that's how it works. I'm pretty sure it just goes back into the budget of the movie. Like, I think that he signs a contract saying, I make this for directing, and then I can also make this for composing, or I can put this into the movie. And I believe he usually puts it into the movie because he's one of these guys that tries to squeeze every dollar out of his flicks.
Well, here's a little fact for you. Keith David played Goliath on Gargoyles.
Whoa. Rewind. What was the question?
Yes, he did.
There was no question. I was just making up for my horrible lie.
Well, I mean, didn't you just say that you played Halo 2? Keith David.
Yeah, no,
it's
true. No, he's the Arbiter. I just played as the Arbiter. That's what I was doing before I came here. So, yeah. It's great. You play as the aliens now.
He's also Captain Anderson in Mass Effect, and
who's who?
He was on Community. Keith David, his buddy.
Fights forever.
He was on Community in those last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Played Goliath on Gargoyles.
I think is that true? I
think that's real.
Yeah, he was Goliath. Yeah, my dad, when I was a kid, used to tell me that it was James Earl Jones, and I was like, even as a kid, I was like,
that sounds racist,
right? I was like, I didn't say that sounds racist, but I was like, that's not true. And he's like, it is. And I'm like, it's a different man. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, it definitely is a different man. And now as an adult, I'm like, remember that time you told me Goliath and Darth Vader were the same person? And he's like, no. I'm like, well, you did. You did tell me that, all right, Dad?
That's like saying Keith David played Simba's dad, Mufasa, in The Lion King.
Both of them.
Okay. Anyway. Yeah, to my dad, all gargoyles and lions look alike.
Yes! I'm here to say... Yeah, I said it.
That was horribly racism. So, they live. Shall we do a little bit of a summary to this movie?
Synopsis.
It's so simple. It's the most simple synopsis.
I know, it's really easy.
Take it away, Steve.
I can do it. Okay.
Take it away, Chase.
So, a man...
We can't talk at the same time.
A man with no name wanders into a town off of a train, I'm assuming, because there's a train going by, and then once it finally goes by, he's like...
Did you notice right away in that scene, it's like he was... I know it's implied he got off the train, but it's like action, and he just starts walking, and I thought that was funny, and I thought it was going to be stupid and bad. I thought it was going to be indicative of the movie to come.
You know what? I didn't, because the train leaves... and then he starts walking. Like, so I assume that he was waiting for the train to leave before he walked. Like, he wouldn't just be walking. Because then it would imply that he didn't get off of that train. That's what I felt. Anyway, so he goes to a job, sort of like a supplementary job application place where you go in, like a job agency, and they're trying to like find something for him, but the old lady is like, we don't have anything for you. And he's like, I came from Detroit, or I can't remember exactly where he came from, but like she looks like she's like the whole time.
You're in the big city now.
Yeah. Like either he smelled really bad or she was like, fuck you and your youth.
I mean, he probably did.
He probably did. Yeah, he just got
Yeah,
on the
his
train.
pants are so dirty. Like for the whole movie, I kept staring at his pants because they were just so dirty.
Yeah, and then we cut to him, and he hasn't found a job, so he's watching TV through somebody else's window as they're watching TV with the volume loud enough that he can see it. And then he is caught off guard by. Oh wait, no, this happens later. Sorry. Before that happens, he sees a preacher in a park preaching to a bunch of people about people that are influencing everybody, and it's very like student filmy, where they're like, they're watching us, they're telling us what to do. It's like a blind preacher, and you're like, oh man, all the tropes. I love it. And then he goes to the construction site that I believe he was meant to be sleeping in the night before. I think that's what was implied, because he goes and he talks to the foreman. The foreman says it's a union job, so he goes to talk to the steward.
Okay.
The steward gives him a job, I suppose. But
No. That's not what happened. He goes, I want a job here. And the guy goes, where it's a union situation. Then they cut to the illegals. And he's like, why don't I talk to your steward?
You cut me off. I was about to say that.
Okay.
And I wasn't going to say illegals either. Jesus.
Migrant workers. Sorry. But
Yeah, so
I didn't. I thought you had that wrong. I apologize, Steve.
No, he
migrant.
Says, he says I'd like to talk to the steward or whatever, and then he looks over and then he sees a bunch of people that look like they're day workers that have been picked up at a Home Depot or whatever, and he's like, "This is not a union job. You guys have illegal people working here or whatever." And then the guy is like, all right. But also he said he has his own tools. He's clearly jacked. Why do you not want this guy in your construction site?
Because his pants are dirty.
Yeah, and then he takes his shirt off, and all of us are sweating a little bit, being like, I need to fucking dab my collarbones with a silk hanky over here.
Yes, I'm a heterosexual, but Roddy Piper, the thing about Roddy Piper that's interesting is in this movie, he's the most handsome.
10 times.
He's the most handsome, and he's the most jacked person you've ever seen. But when you put him next to Hulk Hogan, he looks like a small man. He looks like a tiny, petite man. And that's the fucked up thing about wrestling and why Roddy Piper never got a fair shake. And I think Roddy Piper should have gone to Hollywood full time because he's a good enough actor to have done a bunch of these movies. But I think he did this, and then Hell Comes to Frogtown, and then they were like, ugh.
You know what, though? I definitely agree with you in, like, the most earnest way possible, because, like, you look at Hulk Hogan's movie career, and he had, like, a way longer and probably more fruitful career.
He wanted to be what The Rock became, though, and he never reached those heights.
Well,
The Rock nailed it.
No wrestler except for The Rock has done that, so like, we can't.
Well, Batista's close.
Batista is
he's not
there. He is not The Rock yet.
He's not The Rock. No.
He's in his lane.
No. He's more of a character actor, though. The Rock always plays himself. Batista's a character actor.
You watch Blade Runner 2047 or whatever, and Batista is in that movie, and he's believable and good in that movie. Whereas if you were to put The Rock in that role, you'd be like, what is The Rock doing here? The Scorpion King in this Blade Runner movie. Anyway, so I agree with you, Jason, because I think that he's not a great actor in this movie, but I feel like he has enough within it in terms of his acting chops that he could have become better. Like
he's on par.
Acting classes, and
he's on par with Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme, where they're not like great actors, but they fill a particular role and they can say the lines. Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not a good actor. He can barely speak.
Well, Arnold capitalized.
Stallone's all right. Okay, Stallone's all right.
I don't even know.
He's no De Niro.
Arnold over Stallone, actually.
No, he's
really
no De Niro. You're right. Anyway, I agree with you. I think that he could have become a Batista. He could have become a character actor where he just was in stuff, and maybe that should have been his focus rather than trying to become a Rock or a Hulk Hogan, being like, I'm going to be the next movie star. He should have just taken small roles as stuff here and there. Because that's what Batista did, right? Like, he didn't try to become
Man with the Iron Fist. I think he was in that.
Anyway, yeah.
He's Drax.
it's almost disappointing because you watch this movie and he's the lead in this movie the whole way through. He's the main character and he's not bad. Like he's not great, he's not good even, but he's not bad.
He barely says anything in this movie. It's a lot of face acting.
Though, who that character's supposed to be.
Absolutely. That's why I think that while Duke Nukem does steal lines from people, I think he was based off of this character because of the stoicism and the cockiness.
Why don't they make a Duke Nukem movie?
They don't stop making Duke Nukem things.
Make a Duke Nukem video game anymore.
That's good. Yeah, they don't want to make a.
Bring it back. Make a movie. All the kids are psyched.
It would star The Rock. It would get money. It would star The Rock, and it would get a 1% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, that's what they would do with Duke Nukem.
Would be hilarious. It needs to star Arnold or Roddy Piper.
Well, Piper died like 5 years ago, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is,
also,
you know,
I'm going to
old.
say that, like, visually, he was based on whatever that guy's name is.
Arnold?
Drago.
Oh, okay.
The Russian guy.
Wasn't, I don't think
Dolph
he was based
Lundgren.
on Roddy Piper or anybody in
Hey,
particular.
that guy's still alive?
I think that he was based on a bunch of tropes, and they just, like, drew a trope, made all of his lines from movies, and like Duke Nukem became this sort of like amorphous blob of action.
Okay, fair enough.
Stuff.
But what I will say is the video game for Game Boy, Bart versus the Space Mutants, was a direct parody of this.
Was it?
They Live?
A direct parody?
Yeah. Yeah, he gets a pair of sunglasses that allows him to see aliens, like the people who are aliens in town.
Well, then you're right.
Oh my God! They're aliens!
So, we didn't finish our summary. He then gets a job at the construction site. He befriends Keith David, but not really. He doesn't trust Keith David. Yeah, Keith David reaches out a hand, like kind of extends an olive branch to be like, come with us. Actually, that's not the right. Extends an olive branch is not correct. But anyway, he puts out a hand, a helping hand. And he refuses, or he doesn't say anything. And then Keith David is like, whatever, fuck you. I was just trying to be nice. Leaves. And then Roddy is following him down the street. And then Keith David eventually realizes, and he's like, why the fuck are you following me?
I don't like it when people follow me.
And then he's like, well, I don't join up with anybody until I know where they're going. And then
I don't show up with people unless I know where they're going.
And then Keith is like,
turn up.
All right. Cool. Yeah, that's actually kind of cool. You're a pretty cool guy. Now I'm like, I was staring at you all day with your muscles and your pickaxe. And they go and they go to like basically a shanty town, and you're introduced to what was his name, Jason Butt or something?
The priest or whatever.
Not the priest, but the guy who looks like Sutherland, or he looks like Meatloaf.
Oh, Garrett.
Oh,
Jason Gilbert. Sorry, my shit died. I had it pulled
anyway,
up.
His first name is Jason. His last name is maybe Garrett or Butt. We can't remember.
No, I think his last name is Jason, actually.
Oh,
you'd like that, wouldn't you?
Maybe his name's Jason. Anyway,
hey, I tucked my shirt into my jeans.
He's like fixing a rocking chair or some shit in the back of a truck, and you're like, what is this guy doing with these bits of chairs? And he's like, we could use you if you could need us, if you need us, we could use you as well. Go fix this shit. And then he's like, okay, I'll stay in the shanty town and fix things for people. So he has like another job basically, which is like earn his keep within this small shanty town, which is kind of cool. Feels sort of like a video game almost. Where you're like, oh, okay. You can stay here, traveler, but you need to find the giant rats that are eating our children and kill them. Ding, 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 ding.
And like the campground like area.
Yeah, and then he explores it a little bit, and there's like these three guys that watch TV all the time, like this outdoor TV, and they're always just kind of sitting there doing nothing. And he, at this point, is starting to realize that there's something going on, because like the TV signal goes weird for a moment, and then there's this man being like, they're all broadcasting at the highest towers all over the city, and then everyone's like, oh, my head, my brain, I need to look at stupid dumbass game shows more. This is hurting my brain to see this man on TV. And he also seems to be affected by it. And then we kind of like flash cut to the night. Well, they get dinner and stuff or whatever. That doesn't matter. And then he is realizing that the man who's broadcasting on the TV comes back, and then you see the priest, the one that you saw earlier, and he's like mouthing the exact words that the guy on the TV is saying. And at that point, you're like, oh, something's going on. This is becoming a science fiction movie and not just a movie about a man wandering around being homeless. Interesting. So he gets a little bit weirded out, but he also notices that the church that the priest is standing in front of has choir music coming out of it in the middle of the night. And so he goes and asks that guy, the Sutherland / Meatloaf, in the morning about it. And he's like, you guys went pretty late last night. And he's like, yeah, well, you know, they let us use their kitchen sometimes. And he's like, till 4 in the morning. And
if I had a bass.
Yeah. And then he starts to that's when he's like, you know, he's telling them, I know what's going on, something's going on. And then that guy gets kind of nervous or whatever. And okay, where do we go from here? Yes, then he starts to investigate the church, and then he finds that they're not actually singing choir. They have speakers set up to the windows and everything to make it sound like there's choir practice happening. And he finds that there's like this sunglasses construction happening on all these tables. And then he leans into a wall, and the wall breaks, and he finds all these boxes. And at the same time, these people are having a conversation, being like, "The signal's not strong enough. We got to get a stronger signal to get it out there to all the people." And he's like, what the fuck is going on? And then as he comes out to leave, a helicopter shows up, and then a bunch of bulldozers just start like going through the entire city.
I was thinking when he arrived there, the placement of that like shanty town, I was surprised that shanty town was able to exist, and I like had a premonition that we were going to see this place get completely leveled. I didn't know that the cops were also, like, I didn't know to what extent the alien people or the interdimensional travelers, as we'll find out, I didn't know.
I have a question
where
about that too when we get to it.
But that I was surprised that town was, because the way that the town is set up is this church makes the food, and then they have these like dinners for these homeless people, but they're the homeless people are sort of or unhomed people are sort of the last bastion of people who aren't brainwashed, but they have a TV in their camp, so like they're starting to get brainwashed.
Some of them are brainwashed, yeah.
So but the brainwashed people aren't the aliens or the interlopers.
No,
they're just being indoctrinated.
You don't get turned into one of these things. You are human or you're not. Yeah.
But you can be human and be brought. You'll get to it, Steve. But you can be human and be brought in and be, have everything revealed to you, and then help with the cause, which I think is what happens with the female lead. Anyway, as we'll find out,
it definitely does. So he goes back after the town is destroyed, and he goes back into the church, and he finds that there is a box. There's all the boxes that were hidden behind that wall are still there because it hadn't been burned down fully, and he takes one. And then he runs off, and he goes to an alley, and he hides the glasses in an alley.
Which I hated. How are you going to put it in the garbage can? They're going to empty that garbage can.
Yeah, but
he was desperate.
Part later, like they did that specifically to have a fun garbage can moment. Like that's why they did it.
Okay.
But yes, illogical and stupid. But I think that he thought, like, I'm in San Francisco or LA, and like this place, it sucks. They probably don't have garbage.
They probably don't even clean their garbage.
Or I'm gonna put I'm gonna see what these glasses are about, and I'm gonna, now that I know what they do, I'm gonna stash them here, and I'll just come back for them soon. But then a whole second act starts happening.
What's today? Tuesday?
No, I don't think that he knew.
Is this
what
garbage
they did
week
yet,
or is this green
he took
bin
one
week?
pair. He took one pair out, right? And then he put the rest in there because I think maybe he was like, "This is evidence. I need to not have this." And he took one pair and he wore them. And then that's when he figures out what's going on because he walks out, everything's gray. Then he looks up and he sees like the obey and like he starts seeing everything.
Consume.
consume, obey,
breed
stay
and
asleep or something like that.
reproduce,
breed and reproduce.
marry and
Get married, reproduce.
He sees there's like a Playboy, and he looks at it and it says "jerk off" on it, and he's like, "What?"
That's a lie. I wish they showed that. That'd be hilarious.
I know. I kept thinking about it because I kept showing like porn mags the tops. I'm like, what do those ones say inside of it? Like jerk off, and the next page is like jerk off harder, like jerk off twice in 3 days. Anyway, so he has an interaction that he's very confused about, where all the magazines in the magazine stall are just words, and then he sees a guy buying a newspaper, and then he turns, and the guy has like a weird skeleton face. Yes?
I have a question. I'm not sure if this is the right time to ask it, but why would the alien buy that?
He's just living his life.
Or
the aliens are here. They're just here and they're living their life.
Yeah, but
so this is what I thought about it, because it's like later in the movie they say they colorized our life. We see what they want us to see.
Yeah.
And it's like when you take it off, that's what you're actually, or when you put it on, that's what you're actually supposed to see, which is like everything is gray. Like we're like dogs or whatever. I know dogs don't see in black and white, but like it's almost like they like made our life more vibrant to overwhelm us, where our real vision is like seeing stuff in black and white.
Right.
But my theory to that is that like you have to have these elite people interacting in some small capacity with us, like the idiot humans, to show that like maybe we can become one of them one day. If we're buying a magazine,
and to add,
same magazine stall, then...
to add to your theory, there's certain places where he would go where there would be more regular humans than aliens, and then he'd go into a bank. He'd go into a bank, and it was like mostly the aliens.
Why are they working at all?
Well, like Steve was saying, they're trying to keep up the appearance of everything is fine. Just live your life and consume.
Yeah, they're trying to affect our planet without fully doing an alien takeover, like laser beaming our buildings and stuff. They're just like, if we just come in and integrate slowly, then maybe one day we can take off the glasses, and then we'll all know, and then we'll all be friends. But they're here to steal from us, basically. Like there's
also the signal that's happening also keeps us from seeing their real faces. And that's what's happening. So I don't know necessarily, because spoilers, at the end when the signal's jammed and they can see them, they're in color, right? So there's a lot to think about what's going on here. But I don't think you're supposed to. It is. That 1950s black and white look is definitely paying homage to 1950s horror movies, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I feel like you're supposed to just take this at everything that you see in this movie. You're taking it at face value. You're not supposed to think about it. This podcast might actually be doing a disservice by breaking things down so much. Because I was sitting there like, I don't know if you're supposed to break this movie down as much as we're going to.
You're not. It's
well, what do our viewers want?
Well, I mean, I have my ticker, and I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to add some more ticks to it before the end of this. So
curious about this ticker.
I know, it's probably has something to do with something I say all the time. Paranoid.
or maybe
I'm kind of doing it on purpose because the movie is sort of about him becoming super paranoid of the world, but I think it's funny. So yeah, I might be wrong about the colorized thing. I have sunglasses somewhere, but I'm not gonna go find them for this.
I can't. I just forgot. I don't have Ray-Ban style glasses. I only have aviator style glasses, and that doesn't work.
So anyway, we get through the movie to the point that he finds out what's going on, and then he runs away, and he goes into a grocery store, basically, like a produce store. It's not even like a full on grocery
market store.
Yeah, it's like a fruit and vegetable sort of like side market thing.
Yeah,
and everybody working there is human. I think except for one person that looks like they might be working there, but I'm like, I can't tell if this guy's working here or if he's like supposed to be like quality checking or something. And he's like, these don't look right. But
you call this a Never
he
mind.
then finds the old woman who tells her that her face looks like it was dipped in cheese dip or whatever, and then
Yeah,
she starts
that one.
to,
I
like,
love that one.
yeah, and then he's got a ton of good ones. I'll also have something to say about that in a little while. But he keeps kind of like, you take these glasses off, she looks normal. You put them on, she looks like a pig dipped in honey or something like crazy, right? And then she's like, "We've got one who can see," and then he
can
falls
see
over
us.
and runs away. And then the cops come. The cops are also the skeleton people.
They're they.
They're they. They walk among us. They live among us.
Dost thou?
And he kills both the cops. It's a pretty good shootout. Like, it's like a weird, like, it's almost like that scene in Total Recall where he kills his friends and he's like, "What the fuck did I just do?" Only instead of him being like, "What the fuck did I just do?" and run home, he like takes their shotguns and goes into a bank.
Goes full commando. Just full commando mode.
Great idea.
And he says the classic line, the Duke Nukem line, and he just starts blowing everybody away. And I think this is him like testing the system. Like, it's almost like, if somebody, I know we've talked about before, like the theory that we all live in a simulation or whatever, but like, if somebody was to test that theory and be like, "I'm only going to shoot the aliens and see what happens," and then he does it, and then it's like all the humans are running away, and he doesn't kill anybody who's not an alien.
Yeah.
But even the aliens are like, "Don't shoot us, please." They don't, like, I mean, they're clearly.
I didn't think about that.
They're taking over, but like none of them really are doing anything nefarious except for
like the
slowly into our world.
Well, the Illuminati people who are like, who have effectively taken over.
Yeah, but you never have an interaction where one of the aliens talks to him to a point that they try and explain anything to him.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, the only people who have actually done anything nefarious are the people who actually are in power. The people that are working those jobs and keeping up appearances are just regular people from their dimension or planet.
Yeah. The only time that you really see the aliens doing anything evil, I mean, they did demolish the shanty town, but the guy at the banquet or whatever, and he's like, "And profit margins are going to be up 40%, which means bonuses for all of you." And like, he puts the glasses on, or he just like sees through the things or whatever, and the guy's like, you're like, "Oh my god!"
They reminded me of the aliens from Mars Attacks, also, which I think are related to an actual like 1950s horror movie.
Skeleton face, scary, equals scary. Yeah.
Apparently, it was the same guy playing all of them as well. Like,
really?
Actor.
Well, a lot of them were also animatronic. Like, you could tell that they were like, they were clearly like robots.
No, I'm pretty sure it was an actor.
I mean, when they were actors, you could tell they were actors, but there were times when they were like clearly like not real people. Like, it was.
I thought that was a direction.
Maybe they're like, "Act like an animatronic," and then some guy that comes in, he's like, "I can do it very well."
And then Catwoman's head pops up from behind,
and it's like way more realistic looking.
Yeah.
So he kills everybody at the bank. Then he goes into an alley.
So he kills everyone at the bank.
Well, he doesn't kill everyone at the bank. He kills all the aliens at the bank. The one guy goes, "We've got one here at the bank. He can see," and he goes, like, disappears or whatever.
Yeah.
And then he runs through the bank into the alley. A cop comes up and he's like, "Freeze!" And then he's like, and he like knocks his gun out of his hand or whatever, and then points the shotgun at him, and he tells him to beat your feet, which is amazing. What a good thing to say. To
Mama don't like no tattletale.
Yeah.
That was another great one-liner.
Because he didn't want to kill a human, and then he hijacks Evil Lynn from the Masters of the Universe movie. She has the most piercing eyes to ever.
She has piercing eyes, but she's got a very masculine jawline, and I was like,
big job.
She was older at that time.
Why did they choose this woman?
It was the 80s.
I know. I knew that she had to have been from something else.
She's been in lots of stuff. She was in.
Plus, her eyes are crazy. Like,
yeah, she
her
has insane eyes.
Yeah.
But also, I think they wanted to choose somebody that wasn't like seemed like they could be manipulated easily by Roddy Piper.
They wanted like a woman
They chose somebody
character.
who's older. Yeah, like
Yeah.
seemed like, and like her house is amazing, and like she seems like she's very affluent and rich.
Kaylin laughs, but what I mean by that is, and what Steve means by that is, they could have had the young starlet,
Okay.
and when Piper gets into the house, he could very easily just be like, "I'm taking over," and it wouldn't be believable that she'd be like, could trick him, because she actually tricks him, or
twice.
trick her. Yeah, twice. And she's very good at what she does, because she acts all like sheepish until she gets the upper hand. And then he's even like, oh, and then he fucking throws him out a window.
She doesn't
amazing.
She doesn't just throw him out a window. She like does like a crazy spin with a wine bottle and like hits him in the back of the head, and he like falls out the window. It is a really good shot. Like, she does like a crazy spin, smashes it on his head, and he flies out the window. Anyway, within that scene, he kidnaps her. They go home. There's these two men who I'm like, oh, they did like a good gay thing, where it's just like, they're just gay people that exist. They didn't do. Like,
one guy's like, oh my god, are you okay over there? Like, he doesn't have the accent, and then the guy comes over and goes, That's the super flamboyant, like, what you expect all gay people in 80s movies to look like.
Yeah, it was like they did a thing where the guy was like, he almost seemed like he was going to be like, what's going on over there, honey?
Yeah.
Sugar cheeks.
You all right there, sugar tits?
And then like the other person comes out and is like, taking a man home at 3 p.m, which I enjoyed and I liked a lot. They take him inside. He explains what's going on. Maybe too much. But then you get the reveal that the glasses, when you wear them for too long, they make you like high, kind of like, where you're just like, oh,
you like a headache or a migraine or something.
Yeah. Where
he's like, these things are just as good as drugs. Hell, to come down.
Oh yeah.
You know, like
when you're wearing them, you feel alive, and then when you take them off, you're like, whoa.
Well, that's the thing. That's I was thinking about that after he reveals that, because I was like, everybody who has these glasses on is all coked out of their mind, basically. It's kind of an allegory for cocaine in a way. Like, you do coke and you see the world for what it is.
It was
and then it was the 80s. And the come down is dizzying when you take the glasses off finally and you go back to normal. And that's, he's an 80s wrestler. People are like, I don't want to do it, man. I don't want to put them on. And I thought it might have. I thought there was like a bit of a
glasses up my nose, man.
Keith David didn't want to put those glasses up his nose, man. So he decided to fist fight instead.
But he gets thrown out the window. He loses the glasses. Then we get a cut scene where she's like, "Yes, I'm okay," and I'm like,
"Did you say cut scene?"
Well, it's a cut to another scene.
No, I know. But it's a movie, so the whole thing is a cutscene.
Like a video
game. A QuickTime event as Roddy was calling.
Yeah.
Like,
tap so he rolls. Yeah.
B.
And he goes and sleeps under a bridge, I think.
He falls asleep in an alleyway. Yeah.
And then,
looks like an alleyway under a bridge.
And then he goes back to the alley to the glasses. He goes back to the construction site to try and get
trash in LA.
Keith David to believe him. He's like, listen to me, and then Keith David's like, get the fuck out of here, man! You're fired. You can't just come back here.
I told you I didn't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
I'm Keith David.
Glasses. It'll make you look so cool.
And then we skip forward to him in the alley in the garbage truck. He goes in the garbage truck, gets inside, finds the box of glasses, gets one pair. For some reason, the garbage truck dumps all the garbage. I really don't understand that.
I didn't understand that either, no.
And drives off with
Yeah,
let's not dwell on it. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all. Like, I don't know why that happened. Maybe somebody who's a garbage, like a refuse officer or whatever the fuck we call them now.
To our viewers out there, please send us your comments.
Yeah, refuse officer.
Refuse. I refuse.
It didn't make any sense to me that they dumped all the trash, but I was like, maybe the lever he threw.
Well,
like,
it wouldn't have been
automatically
dumb
does
if he
that
didn't
unless
open
you
it.
press
Like,
a
he
button
did
or
open
something.
it,
I don't know.
but it didn't make sense that they just opened it. What are you disagreeing about?
Me?
No, not you, her.
Who's her?
Haley.
Haley Maggie, what do you disagree with, Haley Maggie? You're being put on the spot by three podcasters. What do you disagree with? Did you watch this? Do you disagree that a garbage
It
man
has
would
taken
dump
us
his
so
load?
long to get through the simple plot of
Oh,
the
this
movie.
podcast is over in 5 minutes, but we're going to keep talking.
Anyway, so he gets the glasses. He tries to put them on Keith David. They fight for literally 5 minutes, and it's the best thing ever.
Yo, Keith
It was
David
15
looks
minutes.
great in
It
this
had to
movie,
have
by the
been.
way.
It wasn't 15. It was. I think it's
It was like
5
6.
minutes and
It was
5
like 6
seconds.
minutes.
It's a very long time.
It was at least 8 minutes.
Ugh.
I mean,
I'm finding
you
out.
have a computer next to you. Look up how long.
I'm looking it up. I'm going to watch it
You're
in
the
real
guy
time.
at the desk or the computer or whatever.
I'm the guy at the computer.
I'm pretty sure it's 6 minutes.
Oh, they say the name of the movie first thing.
Oh,
Kaylin, you
did
dropped
I
the
miss
ball.
it? When did they say
Well, they
it?
don't say it. It's just the name of the movie is like spray painted,
Yeah. It's
Oh,
pretty
yeah,
on
and
the
but
then it
that's
wall.
not
becomes the name of
usually
the
the name.
movie. I think it's just as good.
I'll allow it. I did see the spray paint, and thank you for bringing that up because I actually, while watching it, I saw that, but I didn't hear it, and I didn't make a note of it. And actually, I'm a little ashamed of myself for not making a note of it because you're right. It's like it's not there, but it's like right there.
Okay, he falls out. He falls out of the garbage truck at 55:07,
That's not when the
and
fight
then
starts.
no, give me a second. And
Wait,
Keith
are you
David,
scrubbing through it to do math? Look
Keith
it up.
David. No, I'm gonna find. When does the fight start? When the first punch is thrown?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
No,
Keith
you know what?
David's
I would
standing there.
Confrontation.
When Keith
Confrontation.
David throws the money into the box, that's when the
No,
fight
when he
starts.
throws the sunglasses. When he throws the sunglasses.
Okay, he throws the money into the box at 55:32.
Okay.
Okay.
That just happened. Now let's find out when this fight ends.
Wait, are you gonna watch the whole fight?
Do we
No,
have
I'm
to
gonna
watch,
scrub.
watch it for 6 minutes?
He's just like, all right, they're punching.
Okay, no. Okay,
Punching.
I'm at the 5 minute mark. It's been six. Okay, it's been 5:32. Okay, that's 1:32. That's 6 minutes. Okay, they're still fighting. So that's
Haley,
6
why are you
minutes.
mad at garbage men?
Okay, it's 6 minutes.
6 minutes? Okay. I mean, fine. Happy in between. I mean, you said 15 minutes, and I was like,
It felt like 15 minutes.
maybe you
This felt like
kept rewinding it. You're like, I gotta see that again.
no. It felt ridiculously long because the fight scenes are usually
Jason,
short.
what you said earlier, because Roddy Piper's a wrestler, and they kind of made it like a wrestling extravaganza kind of like event or spectacle or whatever, right? Like it reminded me actually of being at like a wrestling match, and because it's not just like boom boom boom, there's a little bit of banter and stuff and shit,
Yeah.
right? Like
No, yeah, totally. That's what I'm saying. It was really like I'm watching. I just finished Cobra Kai season 4, and I've deduced that that TV show is pro wrestling. It's so good, and it's pro wrestling, and I relate it to this fight directly because the fight choreography was so good, and I'm so like on like what's gonna happen, and it felt long just because like didn't feel long in that it was going on too long. It felt long in that most 80s action movie specifically fist fights. This and like Lethal Weapon at the end, like
maybe a minute,
the longest.
maybe 2 minutes.
Well, yeah, but Lethal Weapon felt long, and that's only like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And this felt like 15 minutes because it was over 6 minutes long.
It was 6 minutes and 1 second.
Fuck you, man. Let's finish this podcast so we can go play fucking Back for Blood.
Oh. I love the fight. It's an amazing fight. I think that there are 2 parts in the fight that I love a lot. One is when Roddy tries to hit Keith David in the nuts, and he grabs it and he goes, "You dirty motherfucker!" yeah, dirty motherfucker indeed. And then later, when Roddy grabs a 2x4 and like smashes the car window, and then
sorry, man.
Was that Keith David's car?
No. So I
he
don't
got
think
upset
that was
about
car.
it for no reason.
No, but it's like,
No,
smashing car windows. Yeah.
Hit him in the head with a fucking piece of wood, and then even Roddy was like, "I probably would have killed you. I'm sorry."
Yeah.
That's what it was. He was like, I was not thinking. I was just fighting." Which then they go to the hotel after that, and they stay together. Yikes! But
Bow chicka wow wow.
they then have a moment where Roddy Piper tells the tale of like how he started to go on the run or whatever, and I was like, "This is so weird. It's such a weird scene." And I was watching. It might have been Red Letter Media, or it might have been Blank Check podcast that was talking about it. I can't remember which one.
I thought you were gonna say Blank Check the movie.
No, I will never.
They have a breakdown of
the movie.
They have a
Anytime I say Blank Check, I am referring to a podcast that is much better than Blank Check the movie.
Blank Check is especially fucked up.
Today, it's a great movie.
Blank Check. That movie is fucked up, dude. At the end, when the girl kisses him, and she's like, "Call me when you're older." Like, what are you doing? Who wrote this?
I love
I'm gonna
that.
just go ahead and stop this right now. No more mention of Blank Check the movie.
Also, the kid tried to steal $1 million from some stranger.
Hey, man, he was poor. He wanted. I think he just wanted to remote control cars and shit.
This is something I wanted to bring up a little bit earlier as well, but I'm gonna say it now. The scene where he tells Keith David how he left his town and how his dad like would beat him and stuff, and how he left when he was 13.
Yeah,
and he like never looked back. That's all true. That's all.
To Roddy.
To Roddy, yeah.
Yeah.
That is a true story, and like they had written stuff for that scene, and Roddy was like,
"No, he made his own backstory.
What if I just like make this mine?" And they're like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, I have a story that I could tell," and then he just like told his own story, and I think they changed the ages and stuff a little bit, but like it wasn't unbelievably different. It was like instead of him being 13, he was 15 or whatever, and it's like, holy fuck. But like all of it apparently is true. And you're like,
if you want to hear a crazy story about a wrestler, watch the Dark Side of the Ring about Jake the Snake from the same era. He also had a fucked up upbringing. Just want to bring as much attention to 80s wrestlers as I can, because I love Roddy Piper.
I was a fan of Michael. What was the guy's name? Shawn Michaels.
Nope. Yeah, that's later.
No, Lorne Michaels is the guy who invented SNL.
That's before. That's earlier.
Are they related?
No.
So this is the other thing.
Shawn Michaels' real name, it's going to blow your mind. Shawn Michaels' real name is Michael Hickenbottom.
A lot of those lines that are left up to Roddy Piper to say in this movie are things that he wrote down in a notebook that he would carry around with him on set.
Oh, for wrestling.
Yes. And he would just have it on him, but he would be like, these will be good for the movie. And John Carpenter looked through it, and he was like, holy heck, these are great.
This one? Yeah.
These are great.
This one.
And I think
Roddy Piper also has a crazy name. Something Toombs.
There's some contention about the bubblegum line as to whether or not Roddy like came up with it on set or whether or not he had written it down.
I thought it was already in his book. I thought it was something that he had worked on for his wrestling thing.
Well, like I said, there's some contention around it.
I don't think he ever said it in wrestling. Also, shout out to Roddy Piper's real name. He could have played the Vulture because his name is Roderick Toombs.
Ooh.
Which Roderick Toombs, like Toombs, like Roderick George Toombs sounds like an old-timey Western cowboy, but also if that's not the best wrestling name you've ever heard, what is?
I don't know. It sounds like he could take on the Undertaker.
They never fought. They never wrestled each other.
He should have used his real name for wrestling.
Do you want to hear more about wrestling, Steve? I know you love it when I talk about wrestling.
So the line was also in that notebook. And also, you better put these glasses on or you're going to have to start eating that trash can. Also in the book. Eat a trash can? Like eat out of it or eat the whole can?
No, like the Ghost Muncher.
Ah, yes.
I don't know if you guys get that reference yet, but you will soon.
So anyway, the movie
Why,
goes
new
on.
Ghostbusters
They
movie?
eventually get to
I don't know.
a banquet hall, or no, they go to like a weird like secret meeting after that guy shows back up again, Meatloaf.
They
He's like,
steal
"We've got
his
a meeting
watch or
happening
whatever.
tonight." And they go there and they give them they give them contact lenses instead of glasses, and they're like, they're better, and you don't get as fucked up from wearing them. And then that woman shows up again, the crazy blue-eye woman who hit him in the head with a wine bottle, and she's like, "I'm so sorry about what I did."
And he trusts her.
And then as they're about to like make up, like the whole wall just explodes. And they fly across the room, and then they get into a crazy gunfight, and that guy from the weapon, the torturer, shows up for a second. You see him?
Yeah.
Pops out.
I liked this scene a lot, not just because of that guy, but because the whole lead up to the wall exploding, everybody's like, yeah, we're ready to fight. We're ready to fight. We're going to fight. We got grenades. We got guns. We got AK-47s. And then the wall explodes and nobody knows how to fight. No, and I loved how they were they were pretending, they were putting on airs to pretend that they were ready for this actual invasion by a military force. And they all just shit the bed so fast. It's realistic. That kind of thing to me is real. When there's a group of rebels and they lose to a horrible militant force, that to me is a lot more realistic than Luke Skywalker going and killing all the fucking stormtroopers with barely any.
That's because they're a terrible shot.
Yeah, but like I guess if you want to go into it, you know, he uses the Force, and they are like second or third generation clones at that point. But this isn't a Star Wars podcast.
All the Stormtroopers are Boba Fett, right?
No, the clone troopers are Boba Fett. No, the clone troopers are Boba Fett's dad.
Technically both.
Technically both. The stormtroopers.
I thought that's where the stormtroopers came from. They're all
no, but the stormtroopers can be different people.
No, the stormtroopers are just
they're just people. Yeah.
No, because episode fucking 4, 5, and 6 are after 1, 2, and 3. So that army came from that army.
Well, there might be some clone troopers left around.
A couple of generals who are like, we survived a lot of wars, and now we're your captain. But now they just decided to recruit.
They recruited, because in episode 7, the masks come off, and Finn is an African American man. He is not. He's not.
That's episode 7, 8,
Django.
9. That's like a whole other universe, basically. That's like a multiverse thing.
All canon to each other.
No, it can't be.
No, for now it is. Until they decanonize it, which they will.
It in the movies. They literally say they abduct children to
and make them stormtroopers. Yeah.
In which movie did they say that?
Force Awakens.
Yeah, exactly. That's they're a part of it, but at the same time, not a part of it.
No.
They also say in that movie, maybe we should have just done another clone army.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to fucking sweep it under the rug is what they're trying to do.
Also, I watched the Red Letter Media on Force Awakens last night, Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker, and they made a good case.
More titles? Hold on.
The Force awakens my soul to the unending broken star of the Death Man. That's the Afrikaans title. So they made a good case that Palpatine, the final Palpatine they see is an ancient Palpatine, and the Palpatine we see as the non-gross-face Palpatine is a clone of this ancient Palpatine, and Palpatine represents all of the Sith Force in one go, and the Sith Lords take little pieces of it to become like. And Darth Sidious is actually Palpatine.
Okay.
They said a lot of things about Star Wars that I was like, because Red Letter Media is my go-to. They almost made me hate Ghostbusters Afterlife, but I
I
said,
thought you
no,
loved it.
I still love it. But
I
they
think
almost swayed
they
me.
also have I like them a lot, but I think that they have like a way about them that is abrasive and they don't care. So
Jay is very cynical about literally everything, and he only likes high art like films and horror movies.
No, I don't think that's true. He liked The Last Jedi. He talked about how much he liked The Last Jedi a lot of times during it.
But then in the
he liked a lot of stuff in the 2016 Afterlife, or not Afterlife, Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, the ladies.
Yeah, he talked
no
about
he reneges on that so hard in this Afterlife because
How'd they
he
sway you? How'd they almost sway you, Jay?
I watched it.
I know we watched the same thing. I don't want to talk about another podcast on our podcast because then we're getting into exhibit territory,
maybe
and
like
also
us if we do. Hey guys,
maybe
they'll
we'll
never
be
see
friends.
this.
Anyway,
Mike, I don't know how to say your last name, but I think it's like Wazikowski. So hello.
No, Stoklasa.
Stoklasa. Mike's Stoklasa. Jay Hunter. No, that's a different podcaster.
His name is
Steve,
Jay
also,
Bowman.
I like your hair.
Jay Bowman. What?
I like Steve's hair.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you like my hair.
I like your hair too.
I'm having a good hair day.
You're having a great hair day. You have an awesome hair beard combo going on.
I got it done professionally. All right, can we wrap this up?
Whoa! I don't even think we're close to wrapping up yet.
No.
I thought we were getting close as well. Anyway, they go into a hole and they find out that guy that was watching the TV, who was like, I love watching TV, is now like a weird rich man who's like, well, now boys, you need to dress the same.
That guy was one of the bums, right? That guy was one of the bums from Bumtown, right? Yeah, okay.
One of the bums from Bumtown? Caleb,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
I'm the wild card.
And then he takes them through, he gives them a tour of the LA alien base, I guess. And then eventually they start shooting everybody. Him and Keith David make their way to the roof, and then we find out again that lady with the amazing eyes is evil, and she shoots Keith David in the head. He gets to the roof, he shoots the transmitter, it destroys the transmitter, and then everybody in LA, presumably, I assume there's more.
I think it was Los Angeles.
One of the best endings to a movie, the very last scene, one of the best endings to a movie ever.
Did you notice that? So when he smashes the thing out and it all gets revealed, the aliens pop out of their disguise,
You can
and they're
see
showing
the veil is lifted.
They're showing the different scenes of like. Nowadays, this would be like a post credits. But did you notice that they say on the TV, it's like these horrible movie makers like George Romero and John Carpenter. Did you catch that? Steve, where'd you go?
See that? I'm here still. I'm still talking. I'm not going to take a piss this time.
Okay. Well, I didn't mean to cut you off for the end of the movie, but I wanted to bring that up.
I thought we were adding to it.
And he gets killed.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is I wanted to bring up that the TV, there was a self-insert, and you brought up his buddy George Romero.
I didn't catch that.
It's like the second to last
Do you know
moment.
That he was also friends with Cronenberg as well?
How come the three of them never, like, well, yeah, because isn't the thing Cronenberg's fucking work?
No, but Cronenberg is like a weirdo. Like
He's a body horror guy.
Yeah, he's a body horror guy. But I think, from what I understand, John Carpenter went to like a Hollywood party after he had been like finally accepted as like a Hollywood person, because they're like, you're making us millions.
Hey.
And then he went to a party and Cronenberg was there, and Cronenberg had just made one of his like fancy movies or whatever, like his not as like super nasty.
Not Dead Ringers or The Fly.
What's it called? Yeah. Oh man, I watched The Fly the other day. Oh man, it's Jeff Goldbluming again.
And I think Cronenberg like just like didn't give him the time of day, sort of thing, at the party. And then that's when John Carpenter was like, "Oh fuck this. Fuck Hollywood. This is so stupid. Like, I have to be a person.
It's
that
a
I'm
certain
not.
mentality.
Yeah, and imagine you don't have that mentality and you go to a party and everyone's just treating you like shit for no reason. And you're like, what? And they're like, yeah, you made that the movie with the scissor finger guy? And he's like, oh, that was Tim Burton. He's like, which one did you make? The other scissor finger guy? He's like, no, that was
he turned into a fly, okay?
No, Cronenberg was like the one.
I just want to paint
being
pictures
accepted.
too.
Anyway, I don't know how the story went. I wasn't there.
Well, I always felt like John Carpenter. So I have a weird story about John Carpenter that I'd like to throw in here, where my buddy Ben was over. Ben has a movie podcast. He's a movie podcaster as well. I'd like to get him on the show at some point. But he went. So me and him are sitting in my living room, and he's like, "I gotta go buy cigarettes." And I was like, "Okay, you go buy cigarettes, and I'm gonna sit here and have a brewster doosker." That's what I call beer. And Ben goes, it's about 10, 15 minutes. He comes back and he's like, "So I just met John Carpenter."
Was it
like,
a different
what?
John Carpenter?
No, it was literally John Carpenter. He was just at the gas station. Yeah.
Cool.
And he's like, "Hey, you're John Carpenter. I'm a huge fan." And he was like, "Yeah, man." And Ben's kind of a, man of a few words. So he says that he's very nice, very personable. And I could have met John Carpenter.
You should have went with him.
That's why you always go. That's why I always go. I always go to things because you never
know.
So
far, I met Lily Taylor, Betty Palmer.
I've met
Bozo the Clown.
I've met various wrestlers being in wrestling, but I'll tell you right now, you know what? Actually, when Willem Dafoe was filming The Lighthouse, I happened to be in Halifax, and I went to the
Keanu?
No, it's gonna be the same
Willem
story.
Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe and fucking Patterson.
Willem Dafoe.
No, guys. I went to the farmers market, and I saw Willem Dafoe walking around.
Downtown Halifax, like Pier 21?
Yeah. And I saw Willem Dafoe walking around, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's Willem Dafoe." Yes, when he was filming The Lighthouse, because The Lighthouse was filmed in Nova Scotia. Then I was like, I'm not gonna bug him. And then later we walked up Lower Water Street, and he well, I was with a few family members. Okay. He came up like behind us, and he wanted to go into the Maritime Museum, but it was closed because it was fucking Saturday. And I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I nodded. I was like, and he went, and I didn't. I left it at that, because the last thing these actors want are for you to go up and be like, "I loved you in Spider-Man. Yeah, you were the greenest goblin I ever seen."
I would definitely appreciate that, but at the same
maybe
time,
he would have liked that though. He would have liked it.
I also didn't.
Probably. I also approaching him.
No, it's true, and I also didn't want to go up to him and be like, "I only know you from Spider-Man."
But imagine you did that, and then as you walked away, you heard.
I got you, Spider Hero. Like, wait.
No, he kills it. He kills it in Boondock Saints.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't have it on my brain at the time. I was like, "Oh fuck, it's the Green Goblin." I wasn't like. And then later, I was like, "Oh yeah, that Lighthouse movie is filming here." And that movie rules. I love The Lighthouse.
Did you see it? Was it good?
The movie is good.
You've never seen The Lighthouse, Kaylin? Come on.
What's it on?
On Prime. Get Prime.
Is it on Prime?
Yeah, it was when I watched it.
I can bum Prime.
That prime time William Dafoe butt. You see
I
that
can
thing?
some
For
Prime.
an old man, he's got a nice butt. Holy heck.
He likes to masturbate.
Can I say a little something here?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
As much as I like this movie, I like the message behind the movie a million times more.
What is that message?
What is that message?
Yes.
It's a message from time and time again. History basically repeating itself, rather. Working towards someone else. Like building someone else up. Like fucking Egypt, Pharaoh times, to the animal farm, with like the pigs or whatever, telling the other animals what to do and shit.
Yeah, that's an allegory
So as we
for
all know,
communism.
the pig is the one that tells the other animals what to do.
Yeah.
Bro,
But like it's just like so like face value, like you said, like there's a simplicity to it for sure.
Yeah.
But at the same time it's something that's right there. I want to assume it's on everyone's fucking mind. Like our world is that is like everything you see is just to promote something else for you to spend money or work to make money to spend it on whatever, right? Not that any of that are necessities.
Well,
which,
yeah, this is your God. Remember when
exactly.
they look at the money? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that this movie you can be complacent with this movie, but you can also literally slot this movie into any time period ever over all time, and it will still be relevant.
Exactly.
Within a certain degree, obviously. You could like take this movie and remake it in the medieval times and it would be the same fucking thing.
You would change certain things but exactly that theme. That
it would be a helmet.
Theme of it
when you pull the visor of the helmet down over your face, that's when you see the aliens in medieval times version of Daedalus.
Yeah. So I'll reveal to you now what my ticker was.
Oh, the counter? Did we add to it?
Just once.
Was it me or him?
I can't remember which one of you did it, but the counter was when we were watching it. It started earnestly, but at the same time, I had announced earlier that like if you say this, it's kind of dumb to say because it's always going to be this. And then we just started using it as a punchline throughout, which was, this movie's more relevant now than ever. This movie's more relevant now than ever.
And I almost literally said that 1 minute ago, but then I was like, Steve's up to something. And you know what?
I wanted to get the
and I said it. It was me that said it. I said it at the very top of the show. And the thing is it is an allegory for capitalism, and capitalism gets worse and worse every day. And the pandemic has exposed that to the umpteenth degree.
Already exposed, but I know what you're saying, and the idea
it's like the COVID is a pair of sunglasses.
It's not that it's more relevant now than ever. It's that nothing will ever change unless people decide to change it, I guess. And I'm not trying to make like a stand here and be like, everybody listen to me. But this movie is just a product of its time, but it was also a product influenced by voices that were saying the same thing years and years and years before it. And to say that it's more relevant now than ever is kind of foolish because
that's true.
The thing is, it's always relevant.
Yeah, the book 1984 was before this, about a year in the future. Like I said, both Invasion of the Body Snatchers were sort of allegories for their time about, fucking, Heathers. No, what's not Heathers. No, not Heathers. What's the movie where like that's all the like white women who are aliens?
Oh, Invasion of the Body Heathers.
Austin Powers?
Heathers of the Body People. It's Powers. Always no, not Austin Powers. I would remember if it was
the
fucking
Fembot.
Austin.
You're talking about the Fembot.
No, the robots who are
Fembots.
I think Nicole Kidman's in it. Anyway.
Cool World?
I was not trying to make fun, but what I was trying to do was see if that was going to be within the zeitgeist of you two. And it wasn't really. Like, you didn't say it nearly as many times as I thought you would. And
I'll tell you right now, I almost said it. I almost said it enough times for this ticker to make sense. But I was trying. Well, I was trying to say that sentence without saying it. And if you go back and watch the whole show, I probably said it enough times but just under the radar so you can add to the ticker.
You're like, this intelligent movie is not as relevant as it used to be. Opposite. Reverse it.
Reverso. Uno reverso.
Bring them, pick it in reverse it. Missy Elliott.
So what do we do now? How do we end this?
Well, you know what?
Did I just ruin it?
To the end of the movie,
no.
And this is the first time that we ever like didn't really make it to the end of the movie early in the show, and we just kind of discussed the movie as we were going through bits, which is interesting, but probably not the best way to do it. So maybe I should be more mean when I'm a host. But
well, no, because you can't. Steve, the thing about hosting is you have to let the other people talk.
Well, I did. I let you guys talk. That's why.
And I didn't like it one bit.
Okay. I'm going to do some final thoughts. The opening music is weird, but it also plays through the entire movie. And also, everybody on Earth is hypnotized, and that music is hypnotizing.
By Biggie?
That's a good observation.
Everything about it seems like they're trying to hypnotize me with that music. The priest touches his face, and I went, COVID! And then I was like, let me touch your face. And I was like, no. Don't let that happen. Hill houses with tubes holding them up in the most earthquake-ridden area of North America. Why?
Yeah, also in Grand Theft Auto 5, the thing with the V that holds up like the balcony, Grand Theft Auto 5, you pull one down with a single car, and I believe you could probably do that with these things.
I think that they got the idea from reality.
No, I know those houses do exist. I'm just saying that
the ones on the cliffs with the things.
Yeah.
All right, I'll say it again. I did that once, and there was a guy, and he had a rock star shirt on, and I was like, "Don't tell anyone about this." And then
you
he
pulled
was
someone's
like,
balcony down with
and
your
I pulled
car
down,
and a rope?
and then he ran away, and I never saw him again.
And then GTA 5 came out, and there was a mission where the politician and his wife was banging a dude.
How do we fight this guy that pulled a knife out?
Don't worry about it.
That's a different podcast.
Question. How did you prepare your chicken?
I baked it, if you must know.
I must.
I baked it.
This isn't for the podcast. This is, you guys can have this conversation later.
Yeah.
Well, it's already answered now. It's baked.
So.
But why did you keep eating it? I can't wrap my head around it either.
I didn't eat a lot of it.
Okay. It's very hard to get food poisoning.
I got in the middle, and I was like, "Oh no, this isn't cooked properly, is it?" But I cooked the same weight of chicken at the same temperature that I always cook it.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys,
we just lost a viewer. I don't know how that happened because I thought the only viewers were. We just lost a viewer.
Someone was like, "We don't
what
hear
isn't
about
here?
Barfing."
Oh man, one of us is dead.
Anyway, Hypnobeat. Face touch. Ew. Hill House. Wow. Okay. The movie, in my opinion, very good. I will watch it again, and I do like it, and I think that other people should watch it in different presidential states. I think this is a movie very much made for American viewers because everybody in America mistrusts their government. Right. I don't think that we feel that way about our government as much.
Not as hard.
We do to a degree, but we do not to the same degree.
Our government's much more spread out and segmented, and our democracy works a little bit better
for at least 3 parties and not 2, and like sometimes you even get a 4th one in there. Even though the same 2 often do win,
and you should probably just vote for one or the other, or else you're kind of you're segmenting the vote. I'm not going to get into my politics on this podcast.
No,
this is a movie.
Can I write my name on the ballot? And if enough people write my name on the ballot,
no, I don't think we have write-in votes in Canada.
We deal with it in different ways where, if certain segments of areas vote for a thing, they still control that thing. We still have bubbles of Anyway,
I vote for my mayor. I vote for my premier, and I vote for I only vote for my mayor and my premier. We don't vote for our prime minister. And then if enough seats take the House, then we and we win.
It's not like America where you're
that
Trump
title
or Biden or Corona, our new presidential candidate, Corona. We lost all our American viewers, but we gained an Australian viewer.
Yeah, I hear the
Truth.
toilet goes the other way.
Is that true? Anyway, so the movie, They Live. Yes, thank you for showing it.
All right, so
I'm going to give it over to you, Jason, for a minute to tell me what
I give
you
it a
think.
4 out of 5. I highly recommend it.
That
I
was
said
short
everything I want to
and
say
sweet.
about this movie. The reason why it's short and sweet is because this year on my Instagram, where we used to show this, I've stopped doing full reviews. I'm going to stop doing full reviews. I'm going to save the reviews for here. I want to focus more on doing the reviews here. And there, I'm just going to I was just giving everybody a taste of what my Instagram's going to look like. I'm going to come in. I'm going to say, here's my review. I'm going to say, here's my number. Here's my recommend or don't recommend. If I'm passionate enough about the movie, do a little blurb. Just a little blurb, just a couple sentences. And for this movie, I give it a 4 out of 5. That's what I said, right? You know
Yeah,
what?
I think 4.5.
I forget what I gave it on my Instagram. So if it's different, like that might be weird, but no, 3.8 out of
That
5.
sounds low. I think it was 4.
It's high. It's still under 5. That's still like almost 80%. It's good in what it does well, and it's bad in that it's like feels like a culty B movie.
Yeah.
But I think that it's better. I think it's better than a B movie, and I think that it's paying homage to 1950s, Hollywood horror. That's all I have to say. Kaylin, why don't you give her, buddy?
Steve, is that okay? Am I allowed next?
I'll allow it.
Thank you. Also, what do you use? Do you use like Dax Lax? Do you use like
No,
what's that other stuff called?
no.
What are you
Pomade?
talking about?
Your hair.
Never mind. Never
Oh,
mind.
I use Don't Wash Your Hair Ever.
Nice. Me too.
I can just do this without ever washing my hair and it stays upward somehow.
No, I know how.
I've
I've got know-how. Okay, so this movie, I stumbled upon it, and one of my favorite things in life is when you stumble upon things that are awesome. I remember there's a few things. Never mind, I won't talk about those things. I stumbled upon this, and Jason, as you said, it has like and Steve, to what you said kind of at the beginning about certain like distaste or whatever, when I said like, oh, you mean the production? It does kind of have a cheap looking feel to it a little bit, which whatever, that's cool. It kind of actually adds to it. There is a simplicity to it, but I like that it's addressing something in your face about like essentially like there's no hiding it, no subliminals or whatever. It's basically it is what it is, right? The other thing though, like on the other side of that is it's a movie which is a part of that whole machine of advertising and watch this, fucking follow this, don't whatever, you know what I mean? Like just be a gear in the cog. So it's all of those things. I don't even want to give it a number because
It's 2022, baby. You can change up the numbering system. I changed up my whole fucking review system. So if you want to do whatever you want to do, just do it. Do it,
okay,
dude.
this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna everything. You know what? Everything I think is good when you watch it in a certain like mentality or mood or whatever, right? So let me see if I can try and say how to watch this movie. Watch this movie when you question your government, and I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm questioning my government daily. Should I watch this movie every
You
day?
should watch it every goddamn day then.
And then you'll know that someone else feels like you, and you're not alone, and there's a bunch of us. And in all honesty, really, we as a collective should be running shit. But
I
who am
think
I?
that I think that we're a little closer to Children of Men than They Live. So,
Is that a movie?
have you not seen
Yes.
Children of Men?
Oh, is that the
Oh
one where
my
they can't have
God.
babies?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I can't have a baby either.
Why not?
I have a penis.
Oh, I see.
You can
see
still
what
have a
he
baby.
switcheroo. No, he did a switcheroo.
All right.
He did a switcheroo ski.
Okay,
Hey, did you see this one?
No, what? Steve didn't do his thing yet. Or no, wait, are we all done?
Well, we come to the end of another episode of Hey, Did You See This One? And as much as I'd like to rant and rave about They Live, I'm not going to. I'm going to say that I appreciate this movie for its simplicity and its surface value. It is something that you can watch as a 13-year-old and think, oh my God, the world isn't what I see it as. Or you could watch it as a 33-year-old and think, oh my God, I shouldn't get vaccinated.
What if you're almost 37?
You broke me.
Those two things are the same thing.
So make sure you get your vaccinations, be part of the solution, and don't be part of the problem. Anybody that wouldn't get a vaccine is totally brain dead and doesn't have a thought in their brain.
But
I'm
also,
gonna go
some
kill
people
myself
watch this
now.
movie and start to mistrust their government, which is like,
There's no such thing as the government.
I didn't realize that when you were doing your final thought that I could just continuously respond to everything that you said.
I didn't realize you were doing your final thought. I apologize. And I'm sorry that I said Kalen was brain dead. And he has many thoughts in his head.
Apparently they're all wrong.
I think this movie is very good, but I think that in the wrong hands or the wrong eyes and the wrong mind, this movie could push somebody to foolish thoughts. But
like Catcher in the Rye?
Can you guys stop interrupting me while I'm fucking talking?
I'm adding. I'm not interrupting. I'm adding.
Do I have the power to mute you? Let me see here.
You might, actually.
I'm not going to mute you guys. No, I think this movie is, you know, at the end of the day, I'm going to say it, more relevant now than ever.
Ding!
Ding! And it does sort of show us what we are capable of, but at the same time, it shows that people are shit. Like, most people are shitty human beings. And like everybody who's offered the ability to go to space and become rich, they basically take it, except for these two guys. And I love that. I love that so much because the entire movie, I mean, not so much Childs, or his name's not Childs. That's his name on the thing. Keith David. I don't know. Nada
Craig.
is
Craig.
His name's Craig?
Frank. With an F.
With an F?
Frank.
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 They were saying Craig, and I was like, Craig? With an F. And I was like, Krev? Krev doesn't make any sense.
Frag?
Krev.
Am I pointing the right way, by the way?
You are not. Am I pointing the right way?
Yes, Jason, you are pointing the right way to whoever you think you're pointing at, but you are pointing in the right direction.
Steve? Kalen?
Hello.
Yes, you're pointing the right way.
There you go.
Anyway, this movie made me appreciate Roddy Piper more than I thought it would.
Roddy, you should go watch some of his promos and his matches. Mostly his promos, because he was probably the best to ever do it when it comes to promos.
Showmanship?
Like talking in wrestling.
Yeah. What's that
Sorry,
called?
Steve. I never know when you're gonna end, so I have to get my words in if we're gonna keep talking.
I haven't even started. I just
oh my God.
Everybody keeps fucking talking over me. Okay, anyway, Roddy Piper, great in the movie. Keith David, very good in the movie. The movie itself, surface level bullshit, but at the same time, we love it because it's more relevant than now than ever, because it'll always be relevant, because nobody's ever going to fucking change anything. So it's always going to be relevant. And that is the crux of what I wanted to say, and that's what I've said. So, with that being said, hey, have you seen this one?
So my final thought is that I like this movie.
I thought you already did your final thought.
I thought you weren't giving it a final thought.
You guys already gave your fucking numbers. You both did.
Oh, I thought the final thought and the number were a different thing in this instance, because I thought you gave your final thought.
That you were saying that you didn't want to.
I did. Keith David was great. Roddy Piper was great. I'm stealing Steve's final thought. Hey, did you see this one?
Oh man, did I ruin it again?
No, I'm ruining it.
Hey.
Steve's mad at me. Look at the disdain in his eyes.
Yeah, but he's got wicked hair, though. Oh, did he mute himself? Is he muted, or is he just not making sound? I'm pretty sure you can't do that without making sound.
I'm muting myself voluntarily.
He did the Wayne's World drive-through gimmick.
Okay,
I need a pee.
What is their rating system again? I give it an 85.
It's whatever you want it to be.
85%.
Cool. In fact, this year on the podcast, come up with your own goddamn rating system. Everybody rags on my rating system. Come up with your own.
Who rags on your ratings?
Everybody who reads my fucking Instagram is like, I don't understand.
I don't see any of them.
No, I don't. People say it to me in person.
Oh, well, I don't hear it.
Because we have different ears.
That's a good point. We're also different.
And we're different people. One of us is vaccinated. So, that said, this week has been a roller coaster. Friday night shows are my favorite.
2 hours almost. 2 hours. We can do.
I want to go home.
I need a pee.
You are home. You'll always be home. What do you want?
I want to pee.
All right. You're going to get one.
Oh, man. I went pee before the episode.
Oh, I thought you wanted to peek. All right.
Why do you keep saying I want to... Okay. I want to go play video games.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I actually need to use the bathroom.
This is the end of the They Live episode. There were those who doubted that we could complete it, but we have done so this evening. All I can say now is, hey, have you seen this one?
Hey, see this one? Huh?
Hey, did you see this one?